President Traoré stood before the gushing well and watched the black liquid rise. Then he gave just one order: seal it immediately. But the reason behind this command wasn't just a national secret, it held the fate of an entire continent. Koudougou, one of the poorest villages in Burkina Faso, had gone weeks without water. Eyes were turned toward the skies, hands buried in dry soil. A new state-sponsored well-digging project began at dawn, lighting a spark of hope in the village. The sound of pickaxes mixed with children's laughter, until a voice cried out, "We found water!" But what burst from the ground was neither clear nor cool. A thick, black, pungent liquid shot upward. One woman dropped to her knees in tears. "It's oil! This is real oil!" The scene was instantly captured on cell phones. Within minutes, it spread across social media. News headlines read, "The village that struck black gold." Drones hovered overhead. Reporters began rushing to the site. Villagers danced while children smeared their hands in oil-filled buckets. But the celebration didn't last long. As soon as President Traoré received the report, he issued a decisive order: seal the well, silence the press, stop all broadcasts. Military units surrounded the area. Signal jammers were activated. No one was allowed in or out. In the village, a question echoed in every heart. Why is Traoré doing this? Isn't this our chance at a better life? Back at the presidential palace, a large map was unrolled across the table. Traoré placed his finger in the center and said only one sentence: "This isn't just a well. It's the lead on a trap set for all of Africa." But where did that trap lead? And who had already stepped inside it, unknowingly? The order to seal the well sent shockwaves through the public. In the village of Koudougou, armed guards stood watch, warning of anyone who approached. Filming was forbidden. Videos that had circulated on social media were quietly removed, but just a few seconds of leaked footage had already caught the attention of international energy giants, CIA, BP, Total, ExxonMobil. They all began analyzing the unusual eruption reported in Burkina Faso. Because this wasn't just a random village well. According to archived records, a French-based geological firm had submitted a report on this region back in 2013. But the report had been buried. Now the reason was clear. This site was set to become Africa's next energy heartland. Traoré's command was unambiguous. Lock down a 5-kilometer perimeter. Suspend all diplomatic access. Blind every satellite looking at the region. But elsewhere, a silent war had already begun. Several major media outlets attempted to break the story. Yet strangely, interviews were cancelled. Articles were never published. It was as if an invisible hand had pulled the plug on the global news stream. As President Traoré reviewed updates with his intelligence council, he didn't take his eyes off the map. Instead, he spoke one line: "This is no longer just about oil. This is a battle for who will control what's rightfully ours." A classified file was placed in front of him. 3 words were printed on the cover: Strategic Extraction Zone. That document confirmed the truth. This was never an accident. But the most critical piece of information hadn't been uncovered yet. Why had this zone remained hidden for so many years? And more importantly, why now? Why did the people themselves become the ones to uncover it? The military barriers around the well had become more than just fences. They were symbols of silence. The villagers no longer spoke. Not because they didn't care, but because they were afraid. Every night, armed patrols circled the streets. House inspections became routine. Every outsider was questioned. But this silence, it wasn't peace. It was the calm before a global storm. A group of young people tried to break the silence. They snuck past guards and filmed a short video to share online. Only a few seconds made it to the internet before everything was blacked out. The footage was deleted, accounts suspended, but this time the world saw enough. European journalists got hold of the screen recordings. A French news agency broke the story with one headline: "Oil erupts in Burkina Faso, but no one dares to speak." And just like that, the chain reaction began. International media picked up the whispers of a silent oil discovery at the heart of Africa. Even the United Nations issued a formal request for diplomatic clarification. Inside the country, however, tensions were rising. The village was split in two. Some trusted Traoré, saying, "The president is protecting us." Others whispered, "They are silencing us because others want to share the oil." One night, the village elder secretly contacted a news agency in the capital. The call was recorded, and in that call he said, "We asked for water, oil came out, and now they want us quiet." By morning, that sentence had gone viral. This was no longer just a national controversy. It was a global question. What exactly was Traoré protecting? The oil, the people, or the very future of the state? The well that Traoré ordered sealed off had become more than a geological discovery. It was now the ignition point of a political war. As Burkina Faso's covert intelligence unit investigated the growing foreign pressure, they intercepted a highly sensitive data packet. Inside were leaked internal emails from a French energy corporation. One sentence stood out: "Eastern Burkina Faso well has gone active. Initiate emergency protocol. Notify all partners." When these documents landed on Traoré's desk, the entire room went silent. The truth was undeniable. The location of the well had been known for years. But why had it been kept from the people? The answer was chilling. Burkina Faso was being lined up for energy-backed debt deals with the IMF. The oil's value had been deliberately hidden until the moment was right to seize it. The accidental discovery by the villagers wasn't luck. It was part of a long-term control strategy. Traoré's response was swift. Emergency access was granted to the National Archives. The file titled Eastern Drilling Project 2009 Classified was placed on the table. What it revealed was disturbing. Back in 2009, a French-German consortium had scanned the region under the guise of water research, but had secretly mapped the entire mineral and oil layout. While villagers suffered from drought and poverty, these findings were buried, never shared with the nation, and now the well was being portrayed as a random fluke. Traoré turned to his advisors and said, "Extracting this oil will be easy, but burying this betrayal, that will be the real challenge." The documents were laid out on the table: maps, plans, international correspondences, and they all pointed to one truth. This well was never meant to belong to Burkina Faso. It was part of a strategic playbook written by other nations. Before stepping in front of the cameras, President Traoré took a moment alone in his office. A classified protocol dated 2009 detailing foreign interest in the exact location of the well. That afternoon, the entire country stopped to watch. All national TV channels broadcasted the moment live. Traoré stood before the nation, village elders behind him, journalists in front, and he spoke without hesitation. What erupted from that well wasn't just oil, it was a trap. We stayed silent to protect our people, but now it's time to speak. This wasn't a press conference. It was a declaration of resistance. Traoré unveiled a bold new roadmap to defy internal pressure and external economic manipulation. The oil site would be handed over to a local cooperative formed by the villagers. A new law would mandate that all natural resource surveys be conducted exclusively by local scientists. A joint resource protection protocol would be launched with the African Union. The international media was stunned. This wasn't just a policy, it was a statement of African sovereignty. The French embassy issued a formal apology. The IMF suspended all pending loan negotiations. But the people, perhaps for the first time, understood something clearly. Our land, our future. And that day, in the dusty heart of that poor village, a new sign was planted beside the sealed well. It read, "Not oil, but honor."